So maybe you were wondering we weren't going to go on tonight. Maybe we had some unfinished business that we weren't going to attend to. Not so fast, ladies and gentlemen, because we are here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that our guest in DBW most certainly helped build here. Sportswire Radio to the tune of nearly 1,500 subscribers. And boy, do we have a lot to talk about tonight. What on earth happened that made our guest the brand new DBW general manager? Oh, we're going to get into that. We're most certainly going to talk about what's next. What's next going into Fallout, and what's the fallout from, well, our guest becoming the brand new DBW general manager. Should I even bring up the name Stephen Gaynor again? I don't know. Should I bring up Austin James? Nah, probably not. He won't get a standing ovation from our guest here tonight. Should I bring up Chase Wakefield's words from last night? Yeah, I'll probably do that because it'll certainly get a kick out of my guest. And what about this guy that's apparently a headline who certainly trailblazed his way to DBW? But what about even Chaos Conspiracy? Boy, should they be calling our guest Nostradamus in addition to being the DBW general manager? I'll most certainly talk about all that. Maybe I'll even slide in what on earth is going on between Brandon Castelli and Aaron Jones, plus who knows whatever else. But since we are here, and since I do also have a surprise for our guest, no, I can assure you Chase Wakefield's not coming on tonight, so our guest doesn't have to worry. He's got plenty of managerial talk to get into. I do have something for DBW, which we'll certainly recognize them for in a little while. But since, as I stated, we are here in prime time, we are here on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, and, well, it was 24 hours yesterday that the man in our chair that our guest is sitting in right now was some guy, Gary Wolf, some pit bull, some ECW legend. But I think I can follow it up here tonight and forget about Chase Wakefield's appearance and just get right to the point, introduce our guest, because I see our chat's waiting for it. He's waiting for it. In the famous words of Def Leppard frontman Joe Elliott, let's get rocked, baby, and let's start this show off in style here on Sportswire Radio, the number one global radio station where all music and wrestling matters. So with that, without further ado, here on the Sports Report, number one Sport Joe, the man that is the longest tenured champion of anybody currently in DBW, closing in on nearly 1 year, and a brand new DBW general manager. His name is, simply put, the legendary Silas. Welcome, the boss boss and champ is here. My friend, how are we doing?
I'm doing great. I got to start timing these intros
Yeah,
because
some people have said they go on. I think I did one show. It was Felix Jones last Friday, and somebody was like, "Boy, you're just stalling time." I had Torrance Banks in your chair last Saturday. He was like, "Keep going." I mean, so it's a mixed bag. Some people think we should just do the intros and forget the rest of the show, and other people are like, can we get on with it? So it's a mixed bag. But you're the boss. I had to put the boss and the champ. I had to, steal the titles with
I
you.
like the war chant.
Some people like it. Hillbilly Tilly, who's a legendary BYW guy, always says you got to do the war chants more. Like I said, some people like them. Some people think that I should do the war chants. I've kept them in. I mean, Gary Wolf, I don't think liked the war chant. That's why I didn't do it for Gary Wolf. But it's Gary Wolf, so I'm gonna say we'll leave that at that.
Guess.
Yeah, well, enough about that. You certainly have a lot on your plate, and there is so much to talk about. I almost don't even know where to begin. I see the chat starting to come in here, but I think I'm going to go out and start maybe nice and easy since you are the boss and the champ. So for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform that Silas Walker and DBW most certainly helped build, Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. How does it feel now to be the brand new DBW general manager?
Honestly, it feels to me, at least, because this is a position that I have wanted for a long time. This is power. This is the essence of control in this company. This means more to me than when I originally won the global championship. Now it's grown on me over time. That global championship is my baby. I have it in a safe, to be honest. Like it's that precious. So, but this new position, this new job of mine, the one in control, I'm the one calling the shots. I'm the one telling each and every single one of these pieces exactly where they're going to go. And it's great because with this, I can make DBW even better. We just crossed the 4,000 subscriber mark.
Oh, I've got a few.
And I'm going to take credit for pushing us over that line.
Really? So
as general manager, everyone was like, this guy's in control now. We're going to come in. We're going to see changes. It's going to be fantastic. Boom, over 4K. Silas Walker did it.
Okay, so you feel that because of last week, what happened, you being announced as general manager, that pushed DBW over the milestone. Is that what you're telling us here right now?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, now maybe there is analytics to prove that. I mean, you would know better than I would. So I'll give you half a loaf on that. I'll give you half. But how are you going to juggle now being the DBW general manager, but also the DBW global champion? Chase Wakefield said it yesterday. You were basically front and center of the story. You're the main story, but also as an in-ring competitor, you're the guy of anybody right now in DBW, all of our belt holders right now, all of our champions. You have the longest reign of anybody right now in DBW. That is a huge responsibility. And how are you going to be able to juggle both roles?
So when you have something that is of such value and you realize that it's gained value, you can put, say, a baseball card, something like that.
Okay.
You can insure these things, correct? You can put insurance on these items.
You can grade them, you can send them somewhere, and
So basically what I'm doing with my role as general manager is I am insuring my championship reign. I'm putting a mortgage on this championship reign. I am protected by my own self. I am setting myself up for success to continue leading DBW into the promised land as the global champion. It's been a year. It's going to be another year. It's going to be 2 years. It's going to be, you know what I'm saying.
But still, I mean, you've got to be able to juggle both roles. Now, you made a great point. DBW is a company that has a huge following, closing in on 1 million views on YouTube. An amazing accomplishment. Unfinished Business, right off the bat, has, I think, close to 1,000 views as we speak, close to 50 likes. A lot of people are talking about DBW. I mean, match after match, there's a lot of big storylines. People are really excited about DBW. This is maybe the best DBW has ever been. But you've got to now, as the general manager, you told me the story about champion, but I mean, you got to now deal with all these egos. It's a lot of roles you got to play. I mean, how are you going to handle that? I'm sure there's people here in this chat right now that have a few words to say about you,
Oh yeah, I've got some of my
but you know,
employees
in the
here in
wrestling
chat.
world, listen, Gary Wolf was here and he was talking about backstage stuff. He was talking about egos. He was talking about regrets he had. He talked about Vince McMahon here. He talked about Paul Heyman. I mean, now you're in that role of Vince
Yeah.
McMahon and Paul Heyman. You have to deal with a big roster of DBW, and how can you handle that?
So this is one of the biggest rosters on the scene, and a lot of
Absolutely.
people
In
know that.
wrestling, period.
Yeah.
In all of wrestling, period. Not just the underground.
Yeah.
Anyway, think
Yeah.
about that for a second.
So I'm gonna have all these people coming to me and be, Silas, I need this match. I want you to put me here, or Silas, I need revenge on this guy, or Silas, please, I'm begging you, give me one more shot at this. And it's really gonna come down to, have you earned it? What I said before I went into my fight in Unfinished Business is that greatness and success are a choice. So if these people want to be great and want to be successful, they'll make the choice to do that.
Okay. Now I'm gonna put your match up here. We'll talk about it because I do want to get into that, and I most certainly want to talk about Austin James. Stephen Gaynor was obviously a different general manager. He will definitely come up here shortly. You are a veteran. You've been around a long time. You've been a very successful in-ring competitor. But conversely, there's a lot of people that looked at the likes of when Kevin Nash was the booker in WCW. People looked at it, well, he's a contemporary. He's going to have his opinions. Then there are people that have plenty of feelings about Triple H and how he's run WWE and when he got involved and, you know, certainly the boss's daughter, yada, yada, yada. But he was still an in-ring competitor. There's Jeff Jarrett famously with TNA. And you're now conversely in the shoes of those names that I just mentioned. So there's going to be people that you might have more of a favorable opinion of than others. How are you going to juggle that? How are you going to be able to navigate all of that and be an impartial guy? Because unlike Gaynor, you're an active in-ring competitor. And on top of that, you're the longest reigning champion of anybody in DBW.
That's true. That's very true. So when it comes to the others, when it comes to the pieces of putting this show together, the wrestlers, let's use someone that doesn't like me and I don't like them. Let's use Colton Lee for an example.
He's here in the chat. Yes.
Let's talk about Colton Lee. So say Colton Lee feels like, well, I'm probably not going to be able to get as much of an opportunity because we have beef. Well, Colton Lee, if you stay out of my way and you do exactly what I tell you to do, as I'm your boss, right? We won't have beef. If you go in the spots that I put you and you do absolutely everything that you need to do, we won't have beef. I'll forget about that as your boss, but as a wrestler, I'll never forget. I can differentiate these things. See, I'm very intelligent, unlike a lot of the people involved in wrestling. I can juggle these two things. I can't physically juggle, but mentally, absolutely.
Yeah, I don't think you could juggle that, admittedly, doing what David Blaine does. So you're saying, though, let me get this straight. You're saying that, sure, you might have had issues with Colton Lee in the past, but you can look past them as a general manager. And if you feel right now he's warranted an opportunity, and certainly he's going to be a topic here in a little while, you're fine to give him that. You know, you've had issues in the past with a lot of guys. I mean, there's Chase Wakefield here. I'm sure you're going to have plenty to say with him. You know, there's obviously a situation you have to deal with Aaron Jones and Brandon Castelli. You certainly know both men very well. So you're saying in a lot of these situations, maybe Jackson Snow is even a situation you might have to think about here in the future. But all these different guys, you are saying that you can differentiate, even though if you have a past and you may not see eye to eye with them, you may be threatened by them because they want to take your championship. As a general manager, you can be impartial and give them the opportunities that they want.
So I'm going to use the way Gaynor ran things.
Okay.
And compare it to the way I'm going to run things.
Okay.
So Gaynor was everybody's friend. Gaynor Gainer, everyone loved Gainer. He's still the ring announcer, but he was the general manager that everyone was getting along with. Everyone was getting opportunity, and
He was like
let's
a
all be
player's
friends.
coach. Yeah, he was like a player's coach. Basically,
But
everybody
that's the
liked him. Yeah.
problem in wrestling is when the guy in charge is friends with everybody. He wasn't friends with me. After every show.
Obvious, I had you
After
on.
every show, Gainer,
We
the
talked
general
about
manager.
How about you were here and we talked about nepotism? I asked you that question on. Did you feel that there was nepotism? There were guys getting title shots that you were put in situations that really they didn't deserve those opportunities. We talked about that on here.
Yeah. And I'll say this, like after all these DBW shows, everyone gets invited to go to Gainers. Everyone has a good time after the shows. I never got invited to go to Gainers.
Really?
Like Gainer never gave me the opportunity to be his friend. But as a wrestler, being able to differentiate these things, that's what puts me above Gainer as someone in charge. Because there's an unnamed person in the wrestling world, a very, very wealthy person who is notorious for being friends with everybody in his company. And that has caused a lot of problems for multiple years in this company. I'm not going to say what company. I'm not going to say who.
Yeah, don't do that on here because Gary was here yesterday and there will be, I've already received one message from somebody. Hey, you want to speak to somebody else from ECW? So yeah, we don't do it.
Yeah, I won't say any specifics, but I will say that's not going to be me. That problem will not happen with me. I am going to do things the way they need to be done. When you can put aside yourself and do what is best for the company you work for, that is when you will be successful. And I put aside myself to be the general manager, but as a wrestler, I'm still going to be the guy. Like I said, I'm going to be in every main event. You better get used to it.
Well, you said it after you made that announcement in black and white. I'm going to put the matchup you had with Austin, which leads into you being the general manager here in a few minutes. I'm going to put that up. But you said every main event now is going to have Silas Walker in it. So
yeah. Why wasn't it?
I mean, you tell me. I mean, listen, I mean, there are some people that would say that they would expect Aaron and Brandon maybe to be the main event upcoming. Maybe people would expect other people, Mr. Judgment in the past. Maybe people would think he would be in the main event. Obviously, differently. You know better. You know the analytics. You know the algorithms. I mean, so every show going forward, Silas Walker's in the main event. Just want to make sure.
Yes. At whatever match I'm in at Fallout, the main event will feature the global champion Silas Walker.
Do you think that there will be people in the locker room that will be upset and that will cause a rift in the locker room? Do you think that'll be an issue?
No, because if they want to be in the main event, they'll earn it.
But they might not want to work for you, but they may want to cause a revolt. They may want to, famously years ago, when Vince McMahon, we can, I guess, sort of mention his name, he had a thing called the Click, and these guys, Shawn Michaels, Triple H, Kevin Nash, Razor Ramon, and Sean Waltman, the 1, 2, 3 kid at the time, and there were wrestlers that basically threatened to go on strike if they they were getting too much power. So are you concerned that a big locker room with DBW, a lot of veterans, that if Silas Walker's getting main event opportunities, that some in the locker room may not feel you deserve, that they may want to revolt or even go on strike and not show up to work? Does that concern you?
If you want to not show up to work to one of the most successful wrestling companies on YouTube, that is fine by me, because look at the size of our roster. There are a lot of people to take a lot of people.
Okay. Clever point. I give you that.
The size of our roster is actually beneficial to me in that. And I'm not saying I'm going to roll with an iron fist. I'm not going to smash these people into the ground, but I have shown that I have earned this main event position.
No, I think you listen.
What's Brandon done? He's a walking commercial for the company. He's not really much of anything other than he beat Judgment. He can wrestle, but what is Brandon Castelli?
Well, he went through Colin Graves. He certainly went through Roland Havoc. I mean, I think Aaron Jones is going to be a big test for him. That I agree with you on. We spoke about that last night on Sportswire with Chase Wakefield. He would know Aaron Jones as good as anybody. So, yeah, I mean, I agree with you that Brandon's got a big test coming up, but he's still it's a big test. I mean, listen, the guy has gone through a lot to keep the championship and win the title, but I mean, Brandon's worthy of being in main events. You say no.
Sorry, I was actually looking at a comment that just came in.
Well,
Sorry.
you
Can
could
you repeat
certainly
that?
do that. I understand. Listen, I mean, already you're showing some deflection to the leader, but do you think that Brandon deserves to be in main events, or even I'll even
Oh
ask
yeah,
it as
he
a
deserves it. Brandon is the world champion for a reason.
yeah,
But what I'm saying is, what has Brandon Castelli done other than hold that belt to prove that he deserves to be in the main event every time? Yeah, the world championship traditionally is the main event
right.
of the shows that it's
Okay.
in. But with Silas Walker, things are going to change for the better. Things are going to change. Things are going to be featured the way they should be featured.
Are you concerned that there would be anybody though in the locker room that would try to test your leadership skills right off the bat? Is that a concern of yours before
There,
you go to the
there
footage?
if there is, we'll deal with it. We'll get to
Well,
that when
okay.
I get to
Okay,
it.
fair. Listen,
That's
you know what? All
yeah.
right, I think I've got the point. I think obviously, let's go to the tape. Let's watch your match, which will lead into what happened here. And we are here with the one and only Silas Walker, who has got boss and champ on his resume now. And I got a couple things for DBW. So we'll actually got two gifts for DBW. I thought that'll be a nice touch here. But let's come to it. And to be fair, Silas does have a point. He's basically in the main events anyway at this point. So in one sense of it, it's not that far fetched that Silas Walker would be in the main event. But let's get to the tape here. I have it now synced up right here because technology is always interesting. We'll say hello to everybody here in the chat. I'm sure maybe some of your employees are now trying to maybe get a spot for themselves. Who knows, really?
Yeah,
But
maybe. Yeah, hey.
wrestlers politic. Apparently, that's a thing I've heard. But obviously, we're going to watch your match instead, and we'll table that for a few minutes. But Austin James is a man that was here after you came on here. You know, it's been 4 months since you were here. He talked a lot about the DBW Global Championship. He certainly made a lot of waves. I know you quite had some history with him at the end of last season. He came out and certainly he was looking to make some waves. And tell me what's going through your mind here when Austin James is coming out.
Well, I'm standing backstage and I'm watching this guy shuck and jive for the crowd. I never understood that. That's a little odd to me. But I'm preparing for this match mentally as best as
Okay.
I can because Austin James is a very legitimate in-ring competitor. And
Absolutely.
I have my hands full. However, at this moment, I knew of the conversation that I had had with the other man standing in that ring.
You knew already what you were going into. Okay, because I'm gonna have a line. I was thinking about this before you came onto the air, and it'll make sense after the match is out. But I'll save that line, and you give me your reaction in a little while for it. But you're coming out, so knowing what you knew from that conversation, that certainly prepared you for what you had to do in this match at Unfinished Business. Is that a fair point?
Yes, that's precise.
Okay.
And pretty much what had happened is in between Merry Mayhem and Unfinished Business, I was able to finally sit down with Stephen Gaynor and have a conversation with him. This is something I've been wanting to do for a long time. And I showed him the facts. I showed him the analytics. I showed him what he has caused in this company. And I was able to convince him that he is unfit to be general manager. And with my knowledge of the company, I see everything that happens. I know the company inside out.
Well, he
Like
does
I said,
lift the rope.
I know the company better than the owner. So I was able to convince this general manager to hand his power to me. And we signed the contract, we shook hands, and the deal was done before this match was set in place. We just didn't announce it until afterwards.
Wow. You would never have known it here, really looking at what's at stake. You would never have known that this all went on. Let me ask you one slight question before we watch the match here. Was there anybody in the locker room, without naming names, privately that spoke to you and said, you know what, Silas, you're right about Stephen Gaynor. You know what, Silas, you've been right here these past several months. I don't know what the direction of this company with Gaynor as general manager. I don't like the way things are going. Was there ever anybody, without saying names privately, that expressed that frustration?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. There were 2, maybe 3.
Okay. Yeah, don't tell us the names, but
Yeah.
obviously something private. Obviously, that's a locker room thing, but that was something that did come up.
Absolutely.
Okay. All right, that's fair. And we are watching here. To be fair, he's in the semi-main event, so he's kind of main event already. So Silas Walker being in main events for every DBW show going forward kind of does make sense. But we are watching Austin James and Silas Walker, which is a really anticipated match here. A lot of people really excited about this. I have been talking about this match for at least a couple of months here on Sportswire. Austin was here like about 2 or 3 weeks after your last appearance, and we're finally getting it here. And if you're here, hit the sub button for DBW. DBW now is on the road to 5,000 subscribers. I do have a couple of gifts for DBW. We're going to give them those gifts in a little while, but we are here watching this match. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce. You have always figuratively and literally web. All music and wrestling matters. You know, I feel like in this match, you did have a strategy. And I noticed that I was watching a few other matches the last couple of days, and I noticed you enacted a strategy. Did you have a strategy to kind of work on Austin James's lower knee and ankle to kind of take away his high-flying game? Talk to me about that.
He's quick, and that's what I wanted to eliminate was his quickness. So by targeting his left knee, it's what he uses to pivot. Most people kick with their right foot. So if you can't pivot on that left knee, you can't do a lot of damage, but with your kicking leg. So when I was able to get the opportunity to damage that knee, I took every chance I get. I like targeting limbs. I like disabling my opponents before I can take them out. It's fun to me. It really is.
And we knew last year he was dealing with an injury for a while. So that was kind of a smart tactic. You had that in the back of your mind that he was also dealing with an injury last year.
He was.
He spoke about it here. He spoke about it on this platform. So
yeah, this is something I enjoy doing. I got this from Bret Hart.
Oh yeah, I've seen him do this before. And well, you did it there, and you did it, but you were. Again, you know, I've used this and I've been in a couple of different chats the last 2 days. I was in the NEW chat. I was in the ROEW chat. I was in your company's chat last week, and I'm saying it here on the air now that I got a chance to digest all these different companies. You used a veteran tactic. This is a veteran 101. You started a match basically to wear down your opponent. Your opponent is a high flyer. He's got a little bit of a different style from you, and that's why you wanted to take away his ground game, more or less. You wanted to take that away from him and hope that we would eventually get to the point where we get to here.
Yeah, and I've already got him slowed down a good bit. And maybe I do get cocky at times, but who doesn't? You know, like, right here, I should have stayed on top of him, and I kind of got caught. And that hurt. That hurt. But
well, he's got some strength.
Champion, so.
Actively for his, you know, unlike Mr. Wakefield. I mean, what he just did there just now with that suplex, that he's got some strength for his size, you know. And there he goes working on you again, and that looked like that definitely hurt. I will say that definitely.
I saw some colors when he did that.
No, and he's not talking about Crayola crayons, but obviously this is where Mr. James does get some offense in, and you know, he's trying his own tactics at you, and there you are there screaming a little bit in pain with your hand, and he's trying to basically do the same thing that you just did to him. And
I was injured last year, and
I remember that. Yes,
he tried to target my arm here, this area.
Yeah, you were wearing a cast. You were in a cast for a while. We spoke about it. You were on here. You were,
and then he's targeting my knee now. He's taking a play out of my book, a veteran like myself, and it's smart on his end, but doing it better than the person you're taking it from, probably not going to happen.
Do you think that he was prepared for this match?
Yeah, I think he was prepared for the match. I just don't think he was prepared for me being 2 steps ahead.
Okay, all right. I mean,
he was prepared for the wrestling match.
But wrestling's not just about wrestling. It's about psychology. And there you are right now, buying yourself some time. And again, veteran tactics. You know he's going to come after you. You come right back in the ring. and that's also a part of the game.
Yeah. I know this guy's quicker than me. So I've got to be smart. I've got to understand that anytime I have an opportunity to take a move, I need to take it, because if you got right there, if you got someone in the ring that's quicker than you, it's tougher than being in the ring with someone that's stronger than you. I'm telling you.
Well, we had you here when you wrestled Nikki Chooch. I mean, we had you where it was kind of almost like the same. Maybe Nikki had a little bit more of a weight advantage on you. But in this case, it's a little different because he's got obviously the agility and the speed. He's a little bit of a different wrestler. And you definitely tried to go up in shades of D'Lo Brown there and Eddie Guerrero, but there was nobody home, as they famously would say. And you tried, but yeah, I think it's a different style. Let me ask you this question. Obviously, we spoke at length when you wrestled Wakefield. That's a guy you know extremely well, but you really haven't been in the ring much at all with Austin James. So
no, this is the first time.
Yeah, so it's definitely different, I would imagine, than wrestling someone that, even though you've been in a locker room with him for a while, you certainly know him, but you don't have that familiarity like you had with Chase Wakefield, where you could basically, in your sleep, know what Chase Wakefield's going to. He would tell us anyway on Sportswire. But in this case, with Austin James, this is somebody you're not really familiar with in the ring. So in a way, this has to add a little bit to what your strategy is going here, no?
Yeah, like I've never had something like this done to me before. And this is the kind of things that Austin James does. That pulls your shoulder out of the socket. That I didn't know how I was able to actually get it jammed back in there on the edge of the apron. It hurt.
I could see
a lot.
I could see that. I could totally see that. And, he's, to his credit, he's definitely not taking any minute here to maybe give himself some time. And he's trying here something. And it's certainly, he tried, but he shouldn't try. And there you are. There was kind of a little bit of a face buster there of some sort.
Yeah, I got him caught on the rope there.
Well, it helps you because it buys you time.
Bought me a lot of time to recover, especially with what he just did to my shoulder. And now I've got him on the outside.
And there you are. And now you had something there, and that comes into play. Tell us about that.
So those, if you can't see, those are brass knuckles.
Yeah.
The match is over with now, so I'm willing to speak about it. This referee didn't see that they were there, didn't see that I grabbed them. He's focusing on Austin James, but he saw them, and I got caught. And the referee, luckily, wasn't a strict referee that night.
Because that would have been a disqualification.
There was no contact made with them. There was an attempt, but there was no contact actually made with them.
So if you would have hit him...
If I would have hit Austin James there, and the referee saw it, I would have lost by disqualification.
But you wouldn't have lost the title. So it really...
Correct.
I mean, in that sense, Austin James wants the match to continue. I mean,
yeah, he wants to win this championship. And now what's happening here was pretty much the plan B. If I wasn't able to put Austin James away or get myself disqualified.
And then this is where things lead to where they are. Now, obviously, Austin James, we know his history with injuries last season. You worked on it, and here he comes out. Stephen Gaynor. Stephen Gaynor comes out here, and he's shaking his head.
He didn't want to do this. I'll speak for him. He didn't want to do this. He was incredibly unhappy, but he knew deep down in his heart that this was what was better for DBW.
Oh, well, I mean,
Otherwise, James, why would he have done it?
I mean, that's a question that Stephen Gaynor would have to answer, and he's not here to answer that, but he does come out, and this match wasn't anywhere near being over. I mean, Austin James, yes, you had him in a figure four, and you had him right in the middle of the ring, but, I mean, he hadn't passed out, hadn't tapped out. We really don't know what his facial expressions were. I mean, the camera wasn't on him for it, but you win this match, and you sort of win it in a way almost that is kind of reminiscent to the Montreal Screwjob, and instead of this being the Montreal Screwjob, some are saying, is this the DBW Screwjob? And what is your feelings on that? Because we did hear the chance of screw job here, and you got screwed. And I mean, is this the DBW screw job?
Not a screw job.
No.
What happened was Stephen Gaynor made the right choice to do what was best for the company in its time of need. I won this match in the record books by submission. You will see Silas Walker defeated Austin James by submission.
It's on the DBW Facebook page, actually, if you want to check it out. On the DBW Facebook page. But let's go to this.
What Stephen Gaynor did was ensure the company's success. Now, I don't know if you want to play the audio here. I'll mute.
I do want to play it, actually. I want to play the audio here.
Regarding the very future.
I'm right back. Okay.
Attention all of DBW. This is a very important announcement regarding the very future of DBW itself. I'm sure that everybody is wondering just what happened with Stephen Gaynor at the Global Championship match. And the answer is quite simple. If you haven't been paying attention, you can obviously tell that I have quite the way with words. And I was able to use those words and finally get Stephen Gaynor to listen to me. And I was able to convince him, I was able to show him that he is not fit to be the general manager of DBW. I am very observant. I see everything that goes on around here. I know DBW inside out, upside down, doggy style, missionary, in every way possible. I know DBW better than its owner. And that is why Stephen Gaynor relinquished his control to me. You are now looking at the new general manager of DBW. I finally have everything that I have ever wanted in my entire life, and that is complete, total control. I may not be the world champion, but you are all in my world. You are all my chess pieces, and I'm the player. And I'm going to put each and every single one of you exactly where you belong. Enjoy the main event. I really hope all of you do, because this is going to be the last one that you ever see without the name Silas Walker.
And we'll press that off the screen. And if you are here, hit the sub button for DBW. We'd appreciate that very much. Okay, I want to talk about a couple things on that. And I will get to the chat here. I know a lot of people want to talk to you. And I want to give DBW a couple things. But business, hit the sub button for DBW. We really appreciate you give the sub to DBW. But that handshake, right? We saw it twice play in that video. And I was thinking about it when I watched it last week, and I watched it before we came on the air, because I always like to watch things a second time so I can think about it differently. There was no words during that handshake. There was no timestamp of anything. Is it fair to ask about that handshake? Why no words? Why no anything related to the handshake of Stephen Gaynor saying, yeah, Silas Walker, you are the general manager?
It was hard for former general manager Stephen Gaynor to utter those words out of his mouth. Stephen Gaynor loved that position, but he loves DBW as a whole more. So with the realization that I'm going to take this place into the promised land, he reluctantly but willingly handed it over to me. And while he was unhappy about it, he knew what had to be done. I don't know how he's doing now. He probably had a party with the rest of the roster after the show.
Do you think so? The way
Probably. There's about 4 guys that don't go, and I'm one of them.
But you think he still would have had a party? I don't know how he could have looked that roster in the eye. I mean, Austin James was visibly upset. He looked like he was in tears. I would have to think that Mr. Gaynor, I don't think he threw his usual party from what you're telling me. I mean, maybe you're right. What do I know? But it certainly sounds like that this was a man that was conflicted about this decision. He was torn by it. And, I mean, so far, we have no idea why he did what he did. And I even ask again about that handshake, because there's no any words. It's just you could have shook hands with him months ago. And again, maybe you're right. You would know better than anybody. What do I know? But I mean, objectively speaking, there's no comments, just a handshake. And we saw it twice in that video.
So when it comes to Stephen Gaynor, like I said, I can't speak for him.
Understood. I understand that.
Yeah. So he didn't even say much to me when it happened. When I confronted him and had my initial conversation with him during the off season, he listened to me, he nodded to me, and he pretty much said he would let me know his decision. When I spoke to him about a week or so before the show, he said that he thought about it, and he said that I'm right, and we shook hands. And he gave me the paper that I gave him. It's notarized. He signed it, and we took it to the notary, and there we go.
You know, I'm a notary. You could have asked me.
We could have went and met you, Tom Bryce. That's pretty awesome.
I'm a notary, actually. Yeah.
But,
that's okay. Let me ask you, though, one question. And again, I have a feeling I know the answer, but I'm going to ask you this question before I get to the chat. Did Austin James get screwed?
If I was in Austin James' position, I would think he got screwed. But from my point of view, Austin James was a piece that was sacrificed for the betterment of the outcome.
But it sounds like off that answer, he was just a part on the board. He was just a part. But it sounds almost like Austin James screwed Austin James almost in a sort of way.
I don't think Austin James screwed Austin James. I think by not being able to defeat me, Stephen Gaynor didn't prevent Austin James from winning.
But he put himself in a position where you said to us before the match that you had a conversation with Gaynor.
I knew what was happening going into that. I knew that if my plan to get myself disqualified failed, I knew that Stephen Gaynor would.
And that's Austin James, basically, he screwed himself because he put himself in a submission hold that you basically put him in, that there was nowhere for him to go. And that's where Stephen Gaynor came in and threw in the towel. So really, Austin James, and you mentioned it here, you talked about being observant, but you mentioned here about 10 minutes ago that you knew the surroundings. You knew what you were getting into. Austin James, you said, was prepared for this match, right? He was prepared, but he wasn't prepared for what's to come. So he might be prepared for this match, but he put himself in a position where if you had an opportunity, you were observant, you knew it was going in, it was going to happen. And that's why Austin James, he screwed himself because you knew what exactly to do to get Gaynor to come out and throw in the towel.
Yeah, I was able to put Austin James in that knot that I had his legs in, completely wrenching it. And
he was in the center of the ring.
If he didn't have himself in that position, if we kept fighting, that wouldn't have happened. He was in a submission, dead to rights in the middle of the ring. Stephen Gaynor called for the bell, and looking back at it, history is written by the victors.
That's certainly an interesting point. I'm going to ask you one final question about Stephen Gaynor, and I will get to the chat. I promise I will do this. Stephen Gaynor is still our ring announcer. You've obviously had a very questionable relationship at most with Stephen Gaynor. In your position, a lot of people would say, maybe you should fire Stephen Gaynor. Fire him and all from the company. I had Eric Black here a few weeks back. Eric Black took over Enterprise and Amplified. I asked him about, well, now that you're in power, do you fire the people that you had problems with? I mean, we've certainly had Jason Storm and James Taylor going back and forth. I mean, almost kind of the same situation here. But if you had all these problems with Gaynor, why not be first step of business, fire Stephen Gaynor?
Well, part of what we talked about was him not causing me problems. The first toe he puts out of line, he's gone. But the other reason is I actually like his ring announcing work. I've noted in the past of commending his ring announcing work. I just had a problem with him being the one running the day-to-day shows, or the month-to-month shows. So Stephen Gaynor as the ring announcer doesn't bother me until he does something.
Okay. All right, that's fair. Okay, I think that we can separate those things. I think
And
that
I don't know, I can't find a better ring announcer right now. So I mean, if I could, I'd bring in Howard Finkel or maybe Bruce Buffer, but
Well, Bruce Buffer, I mean, UFC's tonight. Howard
yeah,
Finkel, God rest his soul. But
yeah.
yeah, I mean, Bruce Buffer's a good one. But let's get to the chat here because we've had enough, and I want to give DBW a few things here. But yes, Zilla's very excited. She was talking about this a couple of days. We had a couple of different streams. She did mention you a few times, and I agree with you on that, Zilla. Thank you very much. I bought you some time. I didn't quite do a Stephen Gaynor, but I did buy you some time because you were
I
behind.
appreciate
But
it.
no problem. And yes, we're very good to have you here, Zilla. Yes, hello. Yep, we got congratulations to Silas Walker on becoming the new general manager of DBW, also on retaining your championship.
Thank
And
you.
the man that was here yesterday, obviously not much a fan of you, and you are still, as far as I know, wrestling for his wedding invitational. But
I am still on his show. So if he stays in line on my shows, I will stay in line on his show.
you think that he can do that? You think that Chase Wakefield can, stay in line? I mean, yeah, obviously.
We'll see.
Well, what is your thoughts, real quick, on this now Das Boot match? I mean, Chase was explaining this is for a shoe full of beer. I mean,
Yeah, a boot of beer. If you ever see a boot, you ever see one of those big glasses? It's what is it, 2 liters or a liter or something like that of beer,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
So going through the challenge of winning the match, and then you got to go through the challenge of chugging the boot. So,
well, I'm sure you and the rest of the guys can handle that. I will say I am not the mystery opponent because I actually do not drink beer. So Chase was disappointed. Yeah, he was
well,
like,
if you won, we could put what was it, Mountain Dew you were having the other night?
"Nay, I've got
Yeah.
Pepsi because I'm
Pepsi.
really
Okay.
my allergies are through the roof. So I figure if I keep drinking Pepsi, I'll for whatever reason have less allergies, which doesn't seem to work. But you have Brandon in there. You've got Chris Idle. You got D'Lo Smith. You got Andrew Lovelace. You've got Nikki Chucha, man. You've defeated not too long ago, and a mystery opponent. Any ideas on who you think the mystery opponent would be?
There's so many different worlds that are colliding at this wedding show. It's going to be hard to predict because you have people like Matt DeMorist on the show.
Mike Damage now, we know.
You have Mike Damage. You have the Stepdads.
How about Bill Bain? We talked about Bill Bain yesterday.
Bill Bain, that's going to be crazy. So you never know who it could be. This could be it could be Brian Kendrick. He could be here. I don't know.
Well, do you hear Chase?
You never like it could be
NWA.
anybody.
He was talking about NWA yesterday to end the show. Oh, maybe it will be NWA. I mean, maybe Matt Cardona's around the corner. Who really knows?
Hey, I'll wrestle for the NWA championship. That thing's prestigious. I got a whole classic wrestling thing.
I did see your stuff on Instagram, your Instagram stories. Yeah, you definitely would actually want that. And also, Mr. Pitbull Gary Wolf talked about some of the NWA days. But yeah, I think it's a really fascinating thing. And please go follow the Chase Wakefield Wedding Invitational page. And then there's this guy here that's always a topic on here, and he's wrestling Chase Wakefield. And
yeah, he is.
So what do you think about that? I mean, for a penitentiary qualifying match for the World Extreme Championship, I mean, what's your thoughts here?
Well, I have had experience in the penitentiary match in the past. I did not win it. I was stabbed in the back by someone who I thought was my friend, but we'll go. That's beside the point. So Aaron Blaze is going to wrestle Chase Wakefield.
Yep.
At Fallout, right? And the winner of this match gets inserted into the penitentiary match at Total Domination. This penitentiary match is for our World Extreme Championship. And this penitentiary match will be the first of its kind in DBW where it is a hardcore style match. Anything goes in this match. You got 6 guys. 4 of them are going to be handcuffed to the ring posts. And intervals, it's almost like an elimination chamber if you want to think of it.
Yeah,
like
I was gonna throw that out there. Yeah.
So there a lot of crazy things can happen in these penitentiary style matches. So if Aaron Blaze is able to overcome Chase Wakefield, he better be ready for 5 other guys that are gunning for the World Extreme
And we know
Championship.
Mr. Judgment's one of the opponents already in the match. I mean, Mr. Judgment.
Yeah, you've got Sammy Nothing, you've got Mr. Judgment, and you've got Colton Lee already qualified for the match. There's 3 more that need spots. Aaron Blaze, are you going to be one of them? I don't. Do you really want to fight Mr. Judgment? Do you really want to fight Colton Lee? And do you really want to fight Sammy Nothing?
And Sammy Nothing's the World Extreme Champion, and he's went through a lot, and he's not going to relinquish that championship without a fight, figuratively and literally, especially in that setup. I mean, think about who's already in there. I mean,
but I will say this. Aaron Blaze stepped up to Aaron Jones, which is not the person you would expect a newcomer in a company to step up to. Aaron Jones is a certified badass. And
he's been in the ring with the Barbarian.
And while he did lay waste to Aaron Blaze, and Aaron Blaze came out not victorious, he earned a lot of respect from me by even getting in the ring with Aaron Jones.
It's a good point. But, interesting point that you make, because Chase talked a lot about it last night. We opened the show with it. And Chase, this is kind of like make or break for him. Put up or shut up. He's obviously, I said it last night, he's in your position that you were in last year. He really needs a win. And then Aaron Blaze is in by far the most talented locker room he's been in terms of top to bottom number of wrestlers, guys that have been in the indies, guys that have certainly done things in the circuit. I just mentioned Aaron Jones being in the ring with the Barbarian. We know about Judgment. Ace Christian's been making a name. He was just on television actually 2 days ago. A little known fact, he was on television. I mean, you got guys that are very accomplished in DBW. This is by far the biggest locker room he's been in. This is a locker room with a lot of veterans, guys who've done a lot here. And this is a big test for him because he's stepping up. This isn't other places that he's been, that have been, maybe they have some experience. Some guys, have done different things, but this does not hold a candle to where he's been in most places. So how do you think he's going to be able to kind of step up here on this big stage that DBW is?
Well, he's got a pretty good next task coming up. He's got Chase Wakefield, who might not be the toughest competitor, but he is one of the most creative competitors that I have ever been in the ring with. He will hit you with things that you didn't even know you could get hit with. So Aaron Blaze better look out for that. But I do know that Chase Wakefield might not be expecting what Aaron Blaze can bring to the table because he hasn't seen much of it yet.
That's a good point, because I had asked Chase, I said, let me ask you, have you met Aaron Blaze before this? He said no, he had never met him personally. He said he knew him. It was one of those things, people say things, they hear things. We knew each other on social media, but we never met. So I think it's a very intriguing match. I mean, two guys that are similar but yet different. I think that their styles, guys have certainly opinions of both guys outside of the companies that they work, and that may or may not be maybe what you would think. And I think it's a big test for both guys. I think Chase wants to get back to being successful, and Aaron Blaze needs to prove that on this stage, can he be that guy that can be there with the names of Mr. Judgment, Colton Lee, and Sammy Nothing?
Yeah, and the other question is, if Chase Wakefield is victorious, is Aaron Blaze able to move on from this without letting it affect him?
It's a good point. Now that's
because you have to be able to handle losses, because once you lose, look at Ronda Rousey in the UFC. There's a lot of people that once they fall off once, they never get back on.
It's a very difficult thing in sports when you lose and you're used to winning and then you try to get back. It's a very difficult thing. We see this time and time again. I mean, it's very hard. Listen, we had Gary Wolf on yesterday, and Gary Wolf obviously was once upon a time, one of the very best at the top, and he never quite got back to where he needed to be. Different things, obviously the injuries, his partner dying. So it's very tough in wrestling. I think it's a great point. I think both guys have to deal with that. Aaron last year could not win the ROW championship. He could not win the BTW championship, and he's here now, and he needs to get a victory. And Chase Wakefield basically hasn't won a match in eons, and it's a very intriguing match. I'm looking forward to it.
I'm excited to see it, and as the one that's running the show now, and it's the one that's both of these gentlemen's boss, I'm excited to see what it can do for DBW.
I think it's already doing a lot for DBW. I think Colton Lee said it best yesterday. It's best for business. I think viewership is
these
up.
are two guys that are known well in this community, very well. So a first-time match between two people who has their name spread very, very thoroughly across this.
Chase Wakefield and Aaron Blaze, when they come on Sportswire, they're two of the more bigger draws. I mean, people
Yeah.
come out. Chase had a big crowd yesterday. Blaze was back about a month and a half ago. He had a big crowd. I mean, these are guys when they come on here, at least people want to hear what they have to say. And I think that inside the ring, they're going to definitely show some people what they have to offer. And I most certainly want to talk about it, and I hope you join me in doing so. The man that I mentioned, Colton Lee, who certainly had a few comments tonight and last night, would like to say someone I hate is in the seat. And he's talking about, I mean, he might hate me. He might, but, he doesn't like Anthony Steele. But I don't think he's saying he hates me because he wants to come back on. We like Colton. But, yes, hello to everybody. And Zilla says she will always have your back. She will always have your back. How kind of you. But now you're going to start getting some comments. He should stop talking. No one wants to hear what you have to say. Get a lot of people here listening to you tonight. I mean, tonight it sounds like you got a pretty good amount of comments. We got a nice little crowd.
Yeah. So I mean, like, we're not technically at work right now. We're not in the confines of a DBW arena, so you're not really speaking to your boss that way. You're just speaking to someone who beat you at Merry Mayhem that way.
Okay, that sounds like maybe somebody that might be upset still and can't differentiate what happened then and here we are now. So obviously those are things that we'll have to figure out. But okay, we'll definitely get to that shortly. Let me get to some more comments. But now you're going to start getting them. Austin James wants to say Silas is a hypocrite and is nothing but a cheater. He talks about nepotism, but had help from Stephen Gaynor to beat me. I deserve a rematch. You know it, and the DBW universe knows it. Hashtag justice for Austin James.
A rematch?
What he wants.
He thinks he's going to get a rematch. That's not happening. And no, I'm not a cheater. I'm resourceful. I'm a survivor, and I am a winner. And if you look at the history books, that's what they tell you.
That is true. I will have to say that I say it time and time again on Sportswire that they don't tell you how you win. It's just either you won or lost. And there's no question that they don't give you explanations. Go to the DBW Facebook page and you can see for yourself the win-loss records. There's no explanations. They just give you who's won and what championship they hold. And Silas Walker's the one that's got the longest run of any current champion in DBW, including Brandon Castelli.
We've got a guy that does our analytics, that posts all those things. He's very thorough. It's great. I like looking at those kinds of statistics. So,
well, we'll get to some more comments. Hello to Austin. Yep. Hello. Aaron Blaze, taking a different path, would like to say he believes in Austin James and he will get his soon, and he has faith in him. Interesting that Aaron Blaze, after you giving him some praise, kind of says justice for Austin James. I'm sure that... To
be fair, I feel like he did put that before I started giving him some praise.
That's true. But I'm like 35 minutes behind in comments. So but I don't have an idea what he said next. It's a good point.
Just because you have faith in Austin James doesn't mean that Austin James is going to get anything.
Well,
Austin James is going to have to go to the back of the line. He's going to have to earn his way back. And maybe in a year, or if he's really does a really good job, a little shorter than a year, he can have another swing at it.
Well, if you are here, we have to do business. He is the boss. He has a YouTube channel, and I see some people here out there that are watching in and out. So hit the sub button for him. He's closing in on 1,000 subs ever so closely. So give him a sub, and we'd appreciate that. But we'll take that off the screen in a minute. But thanks, Aaron Blaze. Much love. Appreciate the support. And I see a bright future for you in DBW. That is the Prince of DBW, Austin James, speaking to the headline. I wonder what that match would be like, but we'll leave that at that. Also, I believe in you. Zilla does believe in Silas Walker. And I have somebody else here that you might know. I think this is Scorpion the Assassin. He says, Mr. Walker, I encourage you to run this company right and rebuild the foundation of DBW, or you will be another target. Spots in this company and titles are earned. If talent cry about it, there is the door. He says the door is close the door on them. That's what I like to say.
Scorpion the Assassin.
Yes, sir.
Is someone that I share a lot of similar viewpoints with when it comes to wrestling. I really respect a lot of what he has up here. Now, I haven't seen Scorpion in a while. It'd be great to see him.
Maybe he'll show up.
Yeah. And if I am not wrong, he still has that number 1 contenders championship.
Well, I mean, that's a question as of when he'll be back. That's only Scorpion the Assassin would know. So,
yeah.
It's
but
good to see.
I appreciate the advice.
Well, we always appreciate advice, and a fellow New Yorker, want to say hello to my New Yorkers. I don't speak to too many of my home New Yorkers on the state here from Sportswire Radio, and she bows down to you. Zilla bows down to Silas Walker. Wow. Okay, Zilla, maybe she wants a job in DBW. She was talking about places to go to. I mean, you're not going to be putting guys on the trampoline like Chase Wakefield. He wants to go on the trampoline again. What do you think about that, real quick? By the way, Chase Wakefield talked about last time in Sportswire that he's looking to make a return to the trampoline with BCW. I'm sure you
did see that. I unfortunately got home pretty late last night. I'm a busy person now.
It was a late show. I understand. Yeah. People were telling me I caught it today. It's all right.
But I at first didn't realize that they were a trampoline fed, and nothing. That's where I started. Fine, but it is a little bit shocking that he's going back to that.
James Taylor just did the same thing. Chase Wakefield's doing it. I mean, it seems like these guys want to go back in time. Maybe they just, maybe you know what it is? Maybe it's they haven't been as successful as they like inside a ring, and maybe they think that being on a trampoline they'll be more successful.
I don't know. That might be it. I mean, you said it, not me.
I know. I'm gonna, and James will hear it because he's here like every other day, and Wakefield's birth reminded me his birthday is next week. So both these men have now become regulars, and they're going to remind me about this till I'm dead in the grave. But
no, you won't see me getting on a trampoline. But
okay, well, Sean Tovey was the funniest one who was like, "I don't think I could fit. I'll break it or something." Well, all right. Well, at least you're honest. Hello there, hello. And Mr. Lee wants to say, just remember we have some unfinished business.
Well, that event just ended, so if we have another one next year, we might have some unfinished business.
But he's got unfinished business, it seems, with now Robert Pearson?
Yeah, I don't know what's going on with that. I actually wasn't expecting Pearson until the moment happened right there. And it wasn't me that talked to him because I was not the acting general manager at the time.
Right.
So he was able to have the conversation with Gaynor, sign the contract.
That was before your match. It was before your match.
Yeah, and now Robert Pearson's back in DBW, which, hey, he never did anything wrong to me. I don't know his viewpoints on me, but I love Rob. What a guy.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's really one of the more...
not a fan of Cassidy, not a fan of Colton Lee, but Rob, what a guy.
Well, you know, I got to say, as we are here with the brand new DBW general manager, Silas Walker, the legendary Silas Walker, who has the longest reign of any DBW champion. Currently, he's closing in on 1 year. My name is the Reverend Tom Bryce, your voice figuratively and literally where all music and wrestling matters. It is interesting because if what you said several months ago here, maybe if Mr. Lee took that advice then, he wouldn't be in this position that he's in, because you did kind of tell him the things that he's doing now. I mean, I hate to say it and call you Nostradamus, but I mean, think about it. You were saying
this isn't the first time that people have said that I've predicted so many things that have happened around here, but I don't know. I don't know the reason why Robert Pearson left, and I don't think anyone does except for him. So until he reveals that to everybody or tells someone why he was gone or why he's back or any of this, then I can only assume.
Well, we know when he was here, Cassidy and Pearson were the DBW tag team champions.
He left as the tag team champion.
That's exactly it.
I don't know if he blames Tex, Colton Lee, for it. I don't know if he blames me for it, because I know the other two blame me for the whole thing.
Another one. We have no idea. Pearson.
I guess we'll find out. I'm excited to see what happens, but
Chaos Conspiracy. I'm happy Robert Pearson's back out there. I mean, he's a guy that I always liked. He and I, we spoke quite a bit. I mean, I definitely hope to see him. And to time will tell. Maybe there'll be some fallout from that. But Silas Walker, you took a good game. Let's hope your actions speak louder. All these newer talent will learn DBW is everything earned. I support you. Certainly Scorpion is team Silas Walker. And Aaron Blaze is so far not taking the Silas Walker route. Thank you, Xavier Thorne, for tuning in, but I think he knows Aaron Blaze, so I'm going to let you plead the fifth on those comments. But I'm going to let you go first, though, if you're here. Hit the sub button for DBW. And, yeah, see what I mean? Yeah, they're going back and forth. I'm not going to go and entertain that. Thank you guys both for tuning in. It's the deal with the devil with that handshake. Deal with the devil.
So I'm going to quote a song for
All right. I want to hear this.
Stephen Gaynor is the man who sold the world.
Oh, okay. I do know that song. Okay.
Stephen Gaynor is the man who sold the world. I'm not the devil. I've never claimed to be the devil. And the reason I don't claim to be the devil is because I'm the real deal. I'm right in front of you. And I will do what it takes to get what I want.
A man.
And Stephen Gaynor gave me what I want. And he sold the world that everyone in DBW thought they loved. But when they realize and wake up in my world that it's going to be a million times better, they'll realize Gaynor's was garbage.
Well, certainly Silas Walker and Kurt Cobain have a few things in common, and
Hopefully not one, but I won't say that.
Well,
I'm sorry.
We're unplugged. I mean, we're unplugged technically. Yeah. I mean, so that was the reference, but good enough. Let's move on here, though. Silas, you already learned what happens when I'm pissed off. Don't do it again as GM. Well, I think you kind of went through that, and I think Austin James heard some of my things, and he feels he got screwed and deserves a rematch. But you're the general manager. You don't necessarily have to do that. You want to find somebody else.
Yeah, maybe Austin James can challenge for the Hub City Championship or the Anarchy Championship, or maybe though maybe he can get his way into the penitentiary match and challenge Sammy Nothing.
Well, you know what, Sammy Nothing. I'll tell you what, a lot of people want to take something from Sammy Nothing, but I think Sammy Nothing is going to show he's got a lot more than nothing, and he's going to give it everything he's got to keep that championship. And he's a guy I'm very much keeping an eye on here. So yeah,
he's a rabid dog that is not going to let you take anything out of his mouth.
Man was a very successful tag team champion here in DBW, and now he is the World Extreme Champion, and he is going to certainly be no pushover. Let's just put it that way nicely. No, I'm not Elias. Okay. AJ got screwed point blank. Aaron Blaze taking strong positions after your comments. I might be a bad guy, but even he, boy, I thought Colton Lee, you and him would see at least some levels of respect, and it doesn't seem like that. You are getting a tough crowd when it comes to Austin James. But Zilla said she's team Silas Walker. And thank you, Colton Lee. Let everyone know that Silas should know justice for Austin James. He deserves a rematch. Thank you. You keep telling me that, but we're on Sportswire.
You want me to call out Ricochet?
Yeah, well, he's had like the last 7 days, and he did it when Gary Wolf was here. Let's say
Gary. That's so funny.
I don't need to call Gary Wolf, but thank you anyway. But I'll keep it in mind. Silas Walker's on YouTube. Go hit a sub button for him. The real general manager of DBW, the real DBW global champion, Silas Walker is not a cheater, not a hypocrite, and he did nothing wrong. Zilla was in the chat, and Colton Lee wants to say he will be back on Sportswire very soon, actually. He will be on here in the next week or so next week or two. So he's going to tell us why he left Chaos Conspiracy, and that's going to be interesting. But I got a couple of things I want to give you before I get into some other loose ends in DBW. And okay. I want to I got two things, two for the price of one. First, I want to give you this. Congratulations, Certificate of Appreciation Day. DBW gets for 4,000 subs. We have that up my arsenal. I do want to give that to you there. Yep, I definitely want that up.
It's quite the accomplishment to finally reach that. It feels like we were in the 3K range. It feels like we were at 3.8 forever.
I think when you first came on, I want to say DBW was at like 3,100. So we're from 31 to 38, and then 38 to 4. Well, I mean, look, you got there. Now what they say when you hit like these numbers, all of a sudden with the algo, and you guys already hit like another 10 or 15 in the last 2 days.
Yeah, we're a little over, yeah.
So it's 4,000 plus and change. So, I mean, that's what happens. You hit certain numbers
You catch a wave and ride it, and that's how it works.
That's when I hit 1,000, I got like 150 right off the bat. Now, you get, so that's what happens. If I hit 500, I got like 1,000 and got 1,000 right away, so that's how it goes. So I got that. I'm going to take this off the screen because I got something else here for you, which I want to give because there is something else that I have up my arsenal, which I think is long overdue. And I'm going to put that up on the screen right now because my screen is going to give me that opportunity. So I wanted to give it as a surprise. So now we're going to do it here because I think I just have it. And yeah, here we go. So for those that are listening and watching here in prime time on the brightest lights, the biggest stage, the platform will most certainly all music and wrestling match. DBW is in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. Ta-da!
Hey!
DBW is in the Hall of Fame. I mean, listen, if we put Chase Wakefield's BCW in the Hall of Fame last week, I almost have to put you guys in the Hall of Fame because I don't know if that qualifies Chase Wakefield for 2 Hall of Fames, but DBW now is in the Hall of Fame. So there you go. Congratulations.
That's awesome. Thank you, Tom.
No,
DBW means a lot to me. And while there might not be a lot of people that are happy with my new position, I'm getting the comments.
Actually, I'm getting DMs from certain people that are not happy. Actually, so yeah, you're definitely getting a kind of a mixed crowd. I would have thought with new position that you would have gotten more guys in the locker room wanting to maybe ask for a spot, maybe ask for something, but no, they're not seeming to do that. Okay, so we'll give this to you off the screen. We're off the air. Let me, though, ask you a few questions. Let's come back to you for a little while longer. I know you're a busy guy. You got business to attend to, but what are your goals as general manager here?
My goal as general manager, get to 5K as quickly as possible. Continue to run these smooth, entertaining, riveting shows and improve the quality every time. Like the things that we have right now are amazing, but they can be that much better. And that's my goal. My goal is to look back at where we are right now and laugh because I want where we're at in the future to be that far ahead.
Okay. All right.
I can't say any specifics, but there's big things coming for DBW. We've got a lot planned for this year. I've got a lot planned for this year, and I can't wait for this next show.
Absolutely. No, listen, I think that it's an exciting time. I think for underground wrestling, I'm very excited about DBW being back. It's good to have DBW coverage back on Sportswire the last 2 days with yourself and Chase. It was something that has been missing, and it's long overdue. And I do want to ask you, conversely, though, you have the Global Championship, and obviously you're closing in on that 1-year milestone. But are you concerned about who's next for you? I mean, Austin James is obviously making a case here tonight, but you're obviously letting that fall on deaf ears. But who do you think is next for you as DBW Global Champion?
I've thought of a few names. I won't reveal them on here because I haven't made my decision yet.
Understood.
But I've thought of a few names of people who have moved up through the ranks recently, or people who have shown that they can move the needle, or things like that. So I'm not saying that anyone is going to beat me, but if they were to strike lightning twice in a row and somehow beat me, I want them to be able.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we're gonna. Yeah, I'm leaving it at that. Okay, I got the reference.
But it's not gonna happen. Like, I've been the global champion for how long? I was able to overcome Zach DePue with a broken hand. I was able to overcome Big Tex, who was 3 times my size. I was able to overcome a submission specialist in a submission match. Like, there's these over and over again. I was able to overcome Austin James. So anything that I have put in front of me, I mean, it's not really put in front of me by myself, but anyone who steps up and earns the championship shot at the global championship, they better have a lot behind their preparation, because we'll leave it
but you're coming up. But you know what? That's an interesting point, because you're coming up on the 1 year. You're like a month and a half away from about that park. I mean, so you must be thinking about that intensively. I am.
I try not to get. It's like It's like, so an athlete, you don't want to keep thinking like, I'm going to break this record. I'm getting close to this record. I'm getting close to this record or something like that, because the more you're thinking about it, the less likely it might happen. Like, you might let the concept of it get to
Oh
your
yeah,
head.
listen, psychologically, you're not supposed to think about it. You're
Yeah,
supposed to
but
block it
the
out.
closer it gets to that, the harder it is to ignore
But
it.
you're almost there now. You're a month
Yeah,
and a half
yeah.
away. 320 plus days, according to the stats a few days ago that was posted on the DBW Facebook page. Please follow DBW on Facebook and Instagram now as well. But I mean, you're right there already. I mean, you're basically days from that. So I mean, you have to be thinking a total domination. Who would be next for you? I mean, there's obviously, you kind of gave a hint there, but you're already right at the point where you start thinking about that. You start thinking about getting to that 1 year milestone. That's a significant milestone. Look, we saw with Judgment what he did with the world title for over a year. We saw Roland Havoc, right, when he was the world extreme champion, right? With the Heretics,
Yeah, he
I think
had that for a long time.
I think the Heretics were tag team champions for about a year, right?
Yep.
So like, there's, you know, limited, it's rarefied air in terms of who gets to be a champion for that long. And you're the guy right now in DBW that has been that champion for that long. So I mean, you almost have to start thinking about that now.
Yeah. So when I don't like thinking about it so getting in the ring with Austin James, or about to get in the ring with Austin James, like minutes before, I really didn't want to think, well, man, I'm getting close. If I lose it here, then like, that's really going to suck. So it's in those moments that you need to eliminate it out of your head. Like right now, fine, I'll talk about it. I've held that championship for 320x plus days.
Yeah.
And counting. We have our next show coming up. We'll hopefully have a date here very soon.
Okay.
And whatever happens on that show, will the championship stay? Yeah. But that you have to avoid it creeping into your mind in the preparation, in those final twilight hours before the match. But other than that, like, thinking about that is a nice thing. Like, I've held this thing for a long time. I've been holding it for longer than any other champion in this company. Mr. Judgment held his championship for something like 600 days or something like that.
Yeah.
But my goal now is to possibly beat that. Like, that was the longest reign we've ever had. So if I can beat that,
longest reigns anybody's had in period of the underground.
Yeah.
Let's be honest.
So if I can achieve something like that with the global championship, who's to say the global championship isn't the main title then? What's the difference between the globe and the world?
That goes back to your point, champ, that you should be the main event. Silas Walker should be in every main event. Well, if that's the case, quantitatively speaking, well, then you are the main event. And obviously that's what's going to be the future. And I think that obviously the future includes more DBW shows ahead. Obviously, stay tuned to DBW's YouTube page. Instagram page has now been very active. Facebook has been very active recently. It's great to have DBW back. And like I said, in the rankings, Silas Walker 1-0 to start the season. He's right there with Brandon Castelli and the other champion, Sammy Nothing, Zachary Depew, Zach Depew. Obviously, his situation with Jackson Snow, who really knows. Aaron Jones certainly made his intentions clear. And you got Mr. Judgment, who you just mentioned, Colton Lee, who is coming back onto the platform, and a lot of great things ahead here. So, obviously, before we get ready to close the show out, is there anything else that you want to talk about in either positions that we haven't got a chance to cover here tonight?
I'll say this as the DBW general manager. Whether I have beef with you or you have beef with me or not, this is an opportunity to wipe a clean slate. You can step into work at Fallout as a new guy, and you can be the one that listens. You can be the one that is a team, a company player, or there's the door. Literally, the door's right back there. So I'm not the only one that said it. Scorpion said it. So there'll be a lot of guys who agree with what I'm saying. You have to be a team player. You have to do what is best for the company that you work for. Because what we are doing is we are trying to make an entertaining wrestling show. We put on these incredible fights. We beat the hell out of each other, and we try to kill each other to win these championships. But that's just half of it. You have to put in the work. You have to be there to set up the ring. You have to be there to tear down the ring.
Oh, we know that from some Brandon's vlogs, admittedly. DBW, you come early, hours before showtime. Guys in DBW drive hours upon hours to get to these shows. It's a whole day thing, and you don't just show up for a few minutes and have your match and go. And it's a different environment in DBW. We know in DBW that there's people that watch these shows live. We know that DBW's got a very big locker room, so if you don't put up and you come across a certain way, I mean, yeah, the door it may not be the door from Mr. Walker you're being shown. It could be from your colleagues in your locker room, because a lot of guys in DBW are, guys that are in the independents, guys that have made their name elsewhere, and they're not going to put up with it.
Yeah. DBW is the land of the giants. Not literally. I mean, there are some giants we got, but DBW is the land of the giants when it comes to underground wrestling, and there's a reason why we've been so successful for so long. And there's a reason why we're going to continue to be even more successful now that I'm the one leading the charge.
Well, it's definitely exciting times for DBW. We've seen, obviously, different people. How about Navon McDonald being back again? I mean, certainly.
Yeah, so I don't know if we talked about this. One of the other matches announced for Fallout. I know a lot of people are a big fan of Novin. They like watching him. Novin is going to be wrestling on Fallout.
Yep.
Recently, we had Azriel, who is now known as Victor Lobos.
Yes,
and he called out Navon McDonald and accused him and Novin of being the same person. He accused them of not having that switch, and he didn't like that. Navon marched right down there, and they're going to have this match.
He wasn't even doing anything. He was just.
He was on commentary. Navon was helping commentate.
He was just rather, know this man very well. I mean,
Navon's a good friend of mine.
You've known him for a long time. I think that was a really rather interesting situation that we'll be seeing there. That's a match I think that's very intriguing. I mean, Victor Lobos is back and obviously Novin is a very, very extremely accomplished. I mean, we had Comatose on yesterday. I mean, he sings a lot of guys, Aaron, a lot of guys, they love that man. Yeah. So to see that match here in DBW, that's a big deal.
It is. It's a massive deal. We haven't had Novin or Navon in the company for quite a while. So it's going to be amazing seeing this. And
that's why I think a lot of people need to go hit the sub button for DBW and check out all the stuff DBW. For whatever reason, if you haven't watched Unfinished Business, you want to watch it again, that's the DBW YouTube page. I would highly recommend you check it out. Silas Walker will definitely be a part of the show. He will definitely be a part of it in a big way. And he joins very few in the underground who can say that they have a general manager and a championship. Some guys can say, yeah, I'm owner, part player. But in this case, he's the global champion and the DBW general manager. Very, very interesting times ahead here in DBW. And also, I do want to say hello to the Prodigy. You all little-minded fans, do something. Oh, yeah, yes. He's saying hit the sub button for DBW. We're friends in the WVW.
Appreciate it.
Yes.
Appreciate it.
Our friends saying hit the sub button for Silas Walker and DBW and yours truly. Thank you for that, because we have he'll be certainly tuned in tomorrow, because your chair is Miss Courtney Wood tomorrow, who will have a lot to say about a guy, thankfully not in your promotion, Wyatt Black. She's going to be like Anthony Steele tomorrow. She's really upset. Yeah.
I feel like I follow him already on Instagram.
You might with the Prodigy, but the Wyatt Black is this kid. He's a young kid, and he's been making waves. He's been defeating all these veterans. He's basically winning somehow, and Courtney Wood really wants to kill this kid. And she's going to probably turn into Anthony Steele tomorrow on Sportswire.
Damn. Hey, let's see it.
Yeah, well, she'll be. She's really upset. She's like, it's Mother's Day, and her exact words were, "You better have this handy." I'm like, yeah, I'll have it handy.
Oh, the bleep button. Yeah.
She's like, this one, I want you to have it handy. I'm like, okay, I'm good. I'll have it handy. And we have Maverick from the WVW, a veteran guy who's been in the ring with James Ellsworth. He's been in the ring with a lot of guys. So really good shows ahead coming up. And he already said, yeah, see, people, they're waiting to hear what Courtney has to say. But great stuff. I want to pass the baton to you. I want to give you some closing thoughts. I know you're a busy man, and I want to give you the floor now. Anything else you want to plug, share, or say, take it away, my friend.
Tune into DBW. We have Fallout coming up. It's going to be our next event. It should be happening here within the next 3 or so weeks. We will have more information to come later on, but that is Fallout. It is the fallout of unfinished business. We have a few matches already set for that. We have Victor Lobos versus Novin. We have Chase Wakefield versus Aaron Blaze. More to come. There'll be more qualifying matches for the penitentiary match that will take place at Total Domination. And we're going to see what's going to happen.
Very exciting. Yeah, definitely very exciting. If you're on Instagram, by the way, give Silas a follow. Definitely always like hearing what he has to say. And yeah, that was one of his former partners. Yes, Maverick is another Pennsylvania guy, and very excited for him. He's here Monday. They're both here 9:30. So Sunday and Monday is Courtney's 9:30. Maverick is 9:30. So definitely check them out. That is Silas's Instagram page, DBW's YouTube page. I'm going to put that up. Also, Silas's YouTube page. Check that out. That's also DBW's YouTube page. And also, if you have a chance, and maybe I'll give it to you when we're done with it, but Gary Wolf's book, definitely. I read most of the book already.
Cool.
Yeah, apparently Maverick knows Gary Wolf. So it'll be a fun thing to talk about.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so that's a cool thing. But yeah, we'll definitely see more of that. Thank you, Mr. Wolf, for the opportunity. Thank you, most importantly, Mr. Walker. And congratulations to DBW. It's DBW Day, and DBW is in the Sportswire Radio Hall of Fame. So great stuff ahead, and can't wait to see more of the right people you might want to see on Sportswire from DBW. Something tells me Colton Lee you may not want to see on here, but he'll be on here soon. And Sammy Nothing's the guy to keep an eye on. That's the guy.
Yeah, I'd like to see him on here.
I think Sammy Nothing's the one that I'm going to certainly see what we can do there. But great stuff. That is the DBW General Manager and Global Champion Silas Walker. And also Mr. Jake Dvorak is here. Speaking of Hall of Famers, who's going to be in the Hall of Fame again soon after the next week or so. He just won the NEW Northeast Championship. And he defeated Joe Starr, a guy that's had trouble speaking on. You had a list. Surprised you didn't have that list, that your name wasn't on it, because he had Rad Dad on his list. He had Mikey Anarchy. He had all these people, Joe Starr, on his list. And then he couldn't spell, and he couldn't speak, and then he finally spoke to Jake Dvorak, and Jake Dvorak nearly killed him in the match they just had earlier today from our counterparts. I was in the chat. You'll laugh. I was actually having Burger King after mailing out something to the post office, and I sat and had it my way and had a burger and fries and watched Jake Dvorak versus Joe Starr at Burger King.
Oh, there you go.
It was I'm sure Jake will enjoy that story, but yeah, that was fun. And Jake will be back on Sportswire as well. Tyson Spade will be here Thursday night. So we try to give everybody a fair opportunity, and great stuff. And that's DBW, Silas Walker. My name is your voice, figuratively and literally, where all music and wrestling matters, the Reverend Tom Bryce. Thank you so much, everybody here, for tuning in. Have a great night. And until then, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are on the number one global radio station, that is Sportswire Radio, where all music and wrestling matters. And yes, hello, Zilla. We thank Zilla for tuning in, and we thank Jake, and I'll speak to Jake off the air for his next appearance. I'll see you tomorrow. Happy Mother's Day, everybody. Happy Mother's Day. All to the mothers, your mother, and everybody else is out there. Happy Mother's Day. And my mother reminded me, where's my gift? I said, see you Monday. I said, see you Monday. It was okay, because, she'll be here Monday. But until then, see you tomorrow.